Hello, I'm the Accidental Bookseller. My name is Paul. Welcome to the channel. It's tag day again today, and I'm doing the rapid fire book tag, which I've been nominated for by Emily at Reads, a continuing education. I'm not quite sure who may have invented this particular tag, but if I can find out before I post it up, I'll make sure to put it in the comments or post it up on the screen. Now, there's the 25 quick questions that you got to answer, and I believe you got to get it done in 5 minutes. Now, I've seen a few people do the tag now, and I can't remember seeing anyone break 5 minutes, and I'm almost sure that I won't. But however, whatever we must be a minute into this video already, so I've probably got 4 left. So anyway, let's crack on. Number 1, ebook or physical book, and apologies if I keep looking down and reading the question. Ebook or physical book? I've only ever read 2 ebooks in my life before, so physical book. I prefer seeing actual physical progress as I'm going through it. There's the putting in of a bookmark, and there's the texture and the holding of the book, and I'm not into ebooks. I'll only read them if I can't get hold of the physical book somehow. I'm not answering these fast, am I? Paperback or hardback? I get hardbacks if I'm really looking forward to something, but generally it's paperback. And I've kind of been forced down that route now because I've got so many books that shelf-wise, a hardback fills up far too much space that I've got. So paperbacks is the way to go to maybe conserve space. Online or in-store book shopping, both. Trilogies or series, I don't care. If it's good, then I'll choose either. I think maybe sometimes trilogies have been thought out as a concept trilogy before they've been written, and series are maybe more natural, and they'll cover the number of books that are necessary to fulfill the series plots. So I may go series there, but I don't really care one way or the other. Number 5 is heroes or villains. I'm going to say villains because I can't abide books that feel like they've got to finish with a happy ending. If a book's going to finish with a not a happy ending, or the lead character's going to get done away with, then I'm fine with that if it suits the particular book. But sometimes I feel that an author, and it's the same way with films or TV programs, they've got to end on a nice positive note. I think it's maybe less so in British varieties of that. We're maybe a little bit more miserable and go for the baddie winning. But yeah, I'm not particularly a massive fan of automatically going down the hero route. So I'm going to go villains. The next one is number 6, a book you want everyone to read. The Road by Cormac McCarthy. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful book. Not very long. It's got, quite a lot of gaps between paragraphs. I'm not going to say any more. Just if you can, read The Road. Do not under any circumstances look online to see what it's about or for more detail, and definitely don't watch the film first, because there could be spoilers riven through and all of that. Just take my word for it. The Road. Next question. I reckon I'm over the 5 minute mark now. Recommend an underrated book. I'm going to say Wit by Ian Banks. It was recommended to me by a guy at work who recommended 2 or 3 other books, which also turned out to be nice books. And Wit's about a young girl living in a cult in the UK, in a part of the UK. There's bits of humour, there's bits of sadness. It's just an all-round very good book and very underrated. And when I see people talk about Ian Banks, and quite often they'll talk about The Wasp Factory, But I would say Wit is far and away I found it a better book anyway. So that's that one. The last book you finished, it was Flash Forward by Robert J. Sawyer. I've talked about it elsewhere, so I'll get to the next one. The last book you bought. Oh, Sirius by Olaf Stapleton. You don't know that I've got it yet unless you look at the post that I do occasionally. But yeah, Sirius by Olaf Stapleton is mentioned very glowingly by Simon at Science Fiction Retirement Library. And I was at a particular bookshop in Wigtown and I came across a version from the 1960s. Had to buy it. That was the last one that I bought. The weirdest thing you've used as a bookmark. I don't use weird things as a bookmark. I'm really, really pernickety. That's probably the polite version of not damaging a book. I once thought I was going to get banned from Waterstones in Manchester because I think it was when I bought Abarat #2. Abarat's a book by Clive Barker. It's kind of, is it Alice in Wonderland-ish? Where there's Clive's paintings that accompany prose. Disney have bought I think it's Disney have bought the rights for Abarat quite a number of years ago, although I haven't seen anything come out of that. I was buying Abarat one day in Manchester, and what I like to do if I get a book, I want to get the most pristine copy that's in the shop. Even if I'm in a supermarket and there's like 5 or 6 books, I'll pick 2 books up and I'll compare them and I'll think, oh well, that one beats that for condition. Then I'll get the next one on the shelf, or that beats that one for condition. If there's 5 or 6 books, I'll arrive at the one with the best condition. But I was getting Abarat one day in Manchester, and I deliberately went to Manchester because I knew that Waterstones would have lots of copies rather than at the home Waterstones, where they might only have 3 or 4 copies. And I thought, oh, might be a dodgy version. And there's a stack of about 20 of them. And I'm going through them meticulously thinking, well, that copy beats that one. Well, that copy beats that one. And I arrive at my version. And as I'm finishing up doing this, there's about 3 staff members watching me. And I'm sure they're going to come and say, can you leave, please, sir? Wasn't doing out wrong. But yeah, what was the question? Sorry. Weirdest thing you've used as a bookmark. That's a tangent for you. I just use bookmarks. Used books, yes or no? Yes. Top 3 favourite genres. Don't know why I'm staring over there. That's not going to give me any inspiration. Horror, science fiction, classics. No crimes and I'm going to say crime, science fiction, classics. It's horror once upon a time. That's dwindled away recently. Borrow or buy. Buy. Pretty much always. I very rarely will go to a library to buy, to borrow. Character or plot. Character. Long or short books. Either. It depends what I'm in the mood for. Someone mentioned this. Could it even have been Emily on one of her videos about Booktube influencing choice, where if there's a drive to review books for your channel or you're on a buy-in spree, you may be more inclined to go for short books. And that's one of maybe the downsides of Booktube, because I'm certainly guilty of it to some degree. And I'm thinking, oh, well, if I start a really long book, I'm not going to be able to talk about other current books for a while. And I know that's a bad thing, and that's something that I need to get out of from being a new channel. But on the whole, I'd say I prefer medium books because I like a book to have developed. long or short chapters. It depends whether they're labelled or not. Whereas if you have really long chapters that aren't split up into, you might have ones that are split up into sort of mini segments, so you can easily, when you put down, when I put down a book, when I stop a reading session, I like to have finished at a suitable point. Whereas if there's no real labelling and long chapters, that becomes difficult. But equally, I realise I'm failing miserably. This is supposed to be rapid fire. One thing that started to turn me off about James Patterson, who I stopped reading maybe 10 or 12 years ago, the short chapters become absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I think particularly maybe James or other people that use this concept of using short chapters. If you're writing a book, if you can flesh out topics chapter wise, and you end up with 64 or 80 topics that you can split, and you only then have to put granular detail for those 64 or 80, and you've got the working basis of a book. Sometimes I think that doesn't allow for development or as such. Am I wrong in saying that I seem to come across more books these days with short chapters? Don't necessarily think it's a good thing. I just like the book to develop, and I don't want it to be pigeonholed into short chapters for the sake of it. But if that's the author's style, it's the author's style. Well, that can turn me off at times. Name the first 3 books you think of. Treasure Island, The Old Curiosity Shop, Wizard of Oz. I don't know where they came from. I read these initially, but I deliberately haven't planned them so I can be spontaneous. If it can be called spontaneous 12 minutes in. Books that make you laugh or cry. Cry. Our World or Fictional Worlds. I don't really mind either. What's more important to me is things that are believable, even if they're in a fictional world. I want the plot to be believable. I want, if something happens, even maybe of a supernatural type nature or of a fantasy type nature, I still want the action to be believable within the scope of the story, and that could be an outlandish act. So one thing, take for example, The Stand with Stephen King. I'm not really down with the whole Randall Flagg business. It just feels a bit too far-fetched and not difficult to get my head round. I just was maybe less satisfied than I could have been with the way that Stephen King writes the Randall Flagg episodes within The Stand. Audiobooks, yes or no? I'm going to say no. I've never done an audiobook in my life. If I'm in a particular position where I might pick up an audiobook, I'll be listening to music instead. I've got times when I listen to music and times when I read. Audiobooks might break into that music space, but I don't really want them to, and I see no need. Number 21, do you ever judge a book by its cover? Yeah, I do. And my favourite book of all time, The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, I actually picked in the shop, having known nothing about it. I picked it because of its cover. 22, book to movie or book to TV adaptations. I'm going to say book to TV, because frequently, if it goes to a movie and it's successful, it ends up with a damn franchise, and it can end up success in a movie can, I mean, this can happen in a TV as well, but it can ruin the whole concept and memory of the thing. And also, a series gives it time to breathe. I am really rambling on here, I'm sorry. Number 23, a movie or TV adaptation you prefer more than the book. I'm going to say Hound of the Baskervilles, the Basil Rathbone version. Arthur Conan Doyle books trump anything that's been produced. The Jeremy Brett TV series is great for Sherlock Holmes, but I do like the Basil Rathbone Hound of the Baskervilles. I think the film captures the mood of that book perfectly. I think it's a close run thing for The Handmaid's Tale on what's better, the book or series one. I think series one edges it. I think the TV series for the book that I've just read, Robert J. Sawyer's Flash Forward, the TV series is better. I would also say the film of The Martian by Andy Weir is better than the book. One thing that I particularly wasn't keen on for the Martian Andy Weir is that sometimes you'll read a book and you think the author's writing this because he wants a film deal, and it's written where a film would be highly appropriate for it. And I always got that when I read the book. The film is a very good film, but I could never escape that thought whilst reading the book. So, and I did read the book first. So yeah, I would say that one is where the film's better. 24 series or standalones. Standalones. 25 tag others. I'll try and think of some people. I'm not, because I'm quite new. I'm quite kind of reticent to to tag people because I don't want to tag them too much, or them get annoyed with me tagging them all the time. So I will tag some. That's the rapid fire book tag done. I apologise for there being absolutely no concept of rapid fire at all. I think I've certainly taken over 20 minutes, and I don't know what the record is, but I always think that answering questions thoroughly is a better way forward. I'm not sure whether that was the objective of this particular tag. Even now, talking about the tag, I'm not. Even now, talking about the tag, I'm going off on once. I apologise anyway. If you've enjoyed my answers, by all means, click like and subscribe. It really would help me out. And I'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.